King is directed by David Michaud and is a retelling of Shakespeare's Henry V, which I didn't realise until I was already watching it. Unlike other Shakespeare adaptations, this doesn't use the word for word or close enough dialogue of Shakespeare, instead telling the story with, well, I'll just say it, easier to understand dialogue. I've never read Henry V or seen any production of the play or any film adaptation before, and I don't really know anything about the real life historical events other than it takes place during the 100 Years' War between Britain and France, so I don't know how accurate this is as a retelling or as an historical account. The King comes out on Netflix on November the 1st, but I wanted to see it on the big screen after thinking that the trailers looked good, and I'm glad I did. I really like this. Timothée Chalamet plays Henry, and I thought that he was really good. It's the kind of subdued, understated, strong, silent type role that I really like when you have the right actor doing it, and I think that he has an interesting look and on-screen presence here. I also thought he was able to bring a commanding presence despite being very young looking and rake thin, and his impassioned alternate version of the famous Band of Brothers speech was suitably inspiring. Joel Edgerton plays Falstaff, a character whose name I've heard before, and that's about it. I like this character. He's very boisterous and good-natured, which contrasts a lot with how he becomes very quiet and meditative when he's put in charge of Henry's attack on France. I like characters that are completely devoted to another, like Falstaff is to Henry. It's the reason I liked the Doug Stamper character so much on House of Cards until they ruined him like everything else on that show. But I would have liked to have known how the two men came to be in that position of mentor and mentee and trusted friends. Edgerton says something about how he is devoted to Henry, but we never find out why. Robert Pattinson plays a vampire in this movie. I don't mean one of these vampires, no. I mean one of these vampires. He plays the Dauphin like Henry is coming to save France from being ruled by vampires. He is just in a whole other movie, but I loved it. Sometimes you just need a hilariously evil villain. I wasn't sure what his eventual fate was though. The camera cuts away before we see exactly what happens, and I think we are supposed to know. I think I know, but I'm just not sure. There isn't a lot of action. This isn't an action movie, or even really a war movie, but I like the scenes of action that we do get. The one-on-one fight to the death near the beginning, the Battle of Agincourt, and the siege of the French castle all felt very real and visceral, without being over-the-top gory, although there is a beheading scene that I thought would have worked much better if they hadn't shown the actual head coming off. The film didn't need very much action because there was lots of entertaining scenes with witty and engaging dialogue, which elevated this above just being another dry, serious telling of history. I was a bit confused by some of the things that happened. There's some stuff in there about French spies and Henry's good friend who may or may not be a spy, and what they actually did to warrant their heads getting cut off. I didn't get that, and it didn't help that I didn't realise until the end of the movie that Robert Pattinson wasn't the King of France. His father is, and the English have been talking about two different people this whole time. I think it really relies a bit on people knowing some of the history or the play, and I didn't. But it didn't stop me from enjoying it. Everything looks very dark and grey, but the cinematography makes it work and gives it a very rich feel, and the score made everything feel appropriately epic and important. The film's about 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and I would have happily watched the longer version, and I actually really want to see it again sometime soon, so I'm glad that it's coming out on Netflix soon. Another thing that would have made it work a bit better is if we got to see some of the English civilians who the characters are always talking about. They say things like, the people want peace, or the people want war with France, and the people's mood. And we never really see any of these people feeling these things. I'm going to give The King an A-. Like I said, you might get more out of it if you know the play or a little bit of the history, but it's not required. I wish they did more of these non-Shakespearean versions of Shakespeare plays. It makes the stories more accessible. And I do have a love-hate relationship with Shakespeare adaptations, although there are some that I really do like. It is just so nice to see a movie like this, that's set in a time period like this, that isn't about the Tudors or Anne fucking Boleyn, because that bitch has been played out. Thank you very much for watching my review. Please like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at LukeToTheMovies. It all helps the channel grow. Comment down below and let me know if you've seen The King, what you thought of it, if you liked it, disliked it, if you agree or disagree with any of my points, or if you have any points of your own. I will be back soon with more reviews, and I will see you then.